Deep beneath the surface of an unassuming paradise world lies a secret that could destroy humanity. What seemed like a perfect colony turns into a nightmare when people start vanishing without a trace. As Chief Investigator Marcus Hale digs deeper, he uncovers ancient legends about dark skies that speak of unspeakable horror. The truth will change everything we know about the universe and our place in it. Subscribe now to uncover the chilling mystery of Avalon. The colony of New Dawn on Avalon 7 was supposed to be humanity's greatest achievement, a jewel among the stars, where 3,000 colonists built their dreams upon verdant hills and beneath twin suns. For 20 years, prosperity reigned as harvests thrived in the nutrient-rich soil, and children grew up knowing only peace. But all changed when engineer Sarah Collins failed to report for her morning shift at the geothermal plant. Security cameras caught nothing unusual, just empty corridors where she had last been seen. Then came Dr. Peterson from the research facility, then 3 more in a single week. Panic rippled through the settlement, like a cold wind through autumn leaves. Marcus Hale, the head of security, found himself at the center of the chaos. A veteran of 15 years, he had dealt with everything from petty theft to environmental hazards. Yet these disappearances gnawed at him differently. Each victim left behind no struggle marks, no distress calls, simply vanished mid-step. The lack of evidence was maddening. He spent sleepless nights reviewing footage, searching for patterns, anything that might explain what was happening. His office became a shrine to unanswered questions, walls plastered with timelines and maps dotted with red pins marking disappearance sites. As the days passed, fear spread through the colony like wildfire. People avoided walking alone, even during daylight hours. Rumors swirled about ghostly figures seen in the woods or strange lights hovering above the horizon. Marcus tried to maintain order, but the absence of answers eroded trust. Colonists began questioning whether the leadership was hiding something. Was this some kind of cover-up? Or worse, were they dealing with forces beyond human comprehension? One evening, as Marcus pored over yet another set of inconclusive surveillance logs, a soft knock interrupted his thoughts. Standing at the door was Cale, a native guide who often assisted the colony with navigation and cultural insights. His expression was grave, eyes darting nervously around the room. "Chief Investigator," he began, his voice barely above a whisper, "there are stories my people tell about Umbralis Caeli, the dark skies." Marcus leaned forward, intrigued despite himself. Cale hesitated, glancing toward the window, as if expecting something to appear outside. "They say sometimes when the moons align wrong, those who walk alone get taken." Cale's words haunted Marcus long after the native guide had left. The phrase "dark skies" echoed in his mind, conjuring images of shadowy figures descending from the heavens to snatch unsuspecting victims. It sounded like superstition, the kind of tale meant to scare children into staying close to home. But there was something unsettling about the timing of Cale's revelation. The disappearances had escalated precisely during the lunar alignment described in the legend. Could it be mere coincidence? Determined to explore this angle further, Marcus requested access to colonial archives. He spent hours poring over dusty records detailing humanity's first contact with Avalon's indigenous population. Much of the data had been digitized, but physical journals and transcripts still existed, preserved for posterity. As he delved deeper, a pattern emerged, recurring events every 37 years, matching exactly with the current wave of disappearances. The natives called them the Gatherers, beings who came from beyond the stars to collect trophies. Their descriptions matched ancient carvings Marcus had seen during archaeological surveys, shadowy figures with elongated limbs and featureless faces. But the most disturbing detail came from early ethnographic studies. According to native lore, Avalon wasn't just any planet, it was a trap. Its seemingly perfect conditions, fertile soil, temperate climate, abundant resources, weren't natural. They were engineered to lure intelligent life forms. Once ensnared, the inhabitants became prey for the gatherers, who returned periodically to harvest new specimens. This revelation sent chills down Marcus's spine. If true, the colony wasn't merely facing an isolated threat, It was part of a cosmic cycle that had claimed countless civilizations before them. To gather more information, Marcus arranged a meeting with the tribal elders. These wise men and women served as custodians of their people's history, guardians of knowledge passed down through generations. Their village lay deep within the forest, a stark contrast to the modern structures of New Dawn. Wooden huts surrounded a central fire pit, where smoke spiraled skyward like prayers offered to unseen gods. Marcus approached respectfully, presenting gifts of food and tools as tokens of goodwill. The elders listened intently as he recounted recent events, nodding solemnly when he mentioned the disappearances. One elder, a woman named Lyra, spoke up. Her voice carried the weight of centuries, each word carefully chosen. "We warned your ancestors," she said, her gaze piercing. "When they first arrived, we told them not to settle here. But they did not listen. They saw only wealth and opportunity." She gestured to the surrounding trees, their branches swaying gently in the breeze. "This land is sacred, marked by the spirits of those who came before. Now you reap what you have sown." Armed with newfound knowledge, Marcus organized night patrols along the perimeter where most disappearances occurred. Teams of volunteers scoured the area, armed with enhanced surveillance equipment designed to detect anomalies invisible to the naked eye. On the third night, technician Maria noticed peculiar energy readings emanating from dense forest patches. They resembled quantum fluctuations but pulsed erratically, defying conventional physics. As they investigated further, the air grew thick, almost syrupy, making movement difficult. Strange symbols began appearing on nearby trees, glowing faintly before fading away. Back at the lab, analysis revealed these markings contained mathematical patterns far beyond human understanding, multidimensional equations describing impossible geometries. Dr. Elena Cho, the colony's leading linguist, confirmed the symbols bore similarities to ancient texts discovered during archaeological excavations. "These aren't random markings," she explained, pointing to complex diagrams projected onto a screen. "They're instructions, blueprints for something vast and intricate." When asked what exactly, she hesitated. "I don't know. But whatever it is, it's tied to the disappearances." Meanwhile, tensions continued to rise within the colony. Families barricaded themselves inside their homes, refusing to venture outside unless absolutely necessary. The marketplaces, once bustling with activity, now stood deserted. Children whispered fearful tales of shadowy monsters lurking in the dark, while adults debated evacuation plans late into the night. Marcus struggled to maintain morale, delivering daily updates to reassure residents that progress was being made. Yet privately, he wondered how much longer they could endure such uncertainty. Then came another breakthrough. During a routine maintenance check of old terraforming equipment, engineering teams stumbled upon a network of tunnels that shouldn't exist according to colonial blueprints. The walls bore the same glowing symbols observed in the forest, except here they remained permanently illuminated. More disturbingly, scattered artifacts suggested previous attempts to study these phenomena. Equipment dating back decades, some pieces even predating official colonization efforts. Someone had known about this long before any settlers arrived. Among the findings lay personal journals belonging to early researchers, documenting similar disappearances and warning against tampering with the resonance chambers. The discovery of the underground tunnels sent shockwaves through the colony. Marcus understood that this wasn't just a series of isolated incidents anymore. It was a systemic threat, one tied to Avalon's very foundation. The resonance chambers, as described in the journals, seemed to act as conduits or amplifiers for some kind of energy. But what purpose did they serve? And why had humanity been oblivious to their existence for so long? Dr. Elena Cho and her team worked tirelessly to decode the alien script etched into the walls of the tunnels. Each symbol pulsed faintly, as if alive, responding to the presence of those who studied them. "These aren't just instructions," Elena murmured one evening, her voice tinged with awe. "They're warnings and invitations." She pointed to a sequence of glyphs that translated loosely to enter and be judged.
Markus frownet.
Judged by whom? The gatherers? Or something even older, something that had created Avalon itself? As the days passed, more unsettling details emerged. The journals spoke of researchers who had attempted to interfere with the resonance chambers, only to vanish without a trace. Others described hearing haunting melodies emanating from the tunnels, songs that seemed to call out to them, urging them deeper into the labyrinth. One entry stood out. The ground hums with power. It sings to us, but not all songs are meant to be heard. Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that time was running out. The disappearances were increasing in frequency, and the colony's morale was at an all-time low. People whispered about abandoning Avalon entirely, fleeing before it was too late. But Marcus knew evacuation wasn't an option, not yet. They needed answers, and he refused to let fear dictate their actions. One night, while reviewing footage from the latest patrol, Marcus noticed something peculiar. The glowing symbols on the trees weren't random. They formed patterns that corresponded to specific locations within the colony. When overlaid on a map, these points created a perfect pentagram spanning miles of terrain. The realization hit him like a thunderclap. Avalon wasn't just a planet. It was a trap meticulously designed to lure intelligent species into its web. The revelation of the pentagram structure forced Marcus to reconsider everything he thought he knew about Avalon. If the planet was engineered, then its creators must have possessed technology far beyond human comprehension. The gatherers, whoever or whatever they were, weren't simply predators. They were collectors, harvesting specimens for reasons unknown. Perhaps they saw themselves as curators of a cosmic museum, preserving fragments of civilizations across the galaxy. Or maybe they viewed sentient beings as trophies, relics of conquest. Either way, humanity was merely another prize in their collection. To better understand the mechanics of the trap, Marcus turned to Kale and the native elders. Their knowledge of Avalon's spiritual and physical landscape proved invaluable. Lyra, the elder who had spoken to Marcus earlier, revealed a crucial detail. The pentagram wasn't static. Its nodes shifted slightly over time, aligning with celestial events that occurred every 37 years. This explained why the disappearances followed such a precise cycle. But there was more. According to native lore, the pentagram served as a gateway, a dimensional rift that allowed the gatherers to enter Avalon's atmosphere. These portals required specific conditions to open, including harmonic frequencies generated by the resonance chambers. Without these frequencies, the gateways remained dormant. Marcus realized that disrupting the harmony might prevent the portals from opening altogether. The challenge lay in replicating the necessary frequencies. The natives had long known how to do so through ceremonial chants passed down orally for generations. However, translating these vocalizations into technological terms would require ingenuity and precision. Marcus assembled a team of engineers, linguists, and musicians to tackle the problem. Together, they worked around the clock, combining ancient wisdom with modern science in a desperate bid to save the colony. Progress was slow and fraught with setbacks. The first attempts to generate the harmonic frequencies resulted in equipment malfunctions and near-disastrous feedback loops. Some team members grew discouraged, questioning whether they were chasing a pipe dream. But Marcus refused to give up. He reminded everyone of what was at stake, not just their lives, but the future of humanity on Avalon. Elena made a breakthrough when she discovered that the alien script contained embedded musical notations. These notes, when played in sequence, produced tones that resonated with the planet's natural vibrations. By integrating these sounds into their experiments, the team began achieving partial success. The symbols in the tunnels reacted visibly, pulsing brighter and faster as the harmonics grew stronger. Meanwhile, tensions within the colony reached a boiling point. Rumors spread that Marcus's efforts were futile, that the colony was doomed no matter what they did. Some settlers began organizing unauthorized evacuations, loading supplies onto makeshift ships in preparation for departure. Marcus addressed the community in a heated town hall meeting, appealing for unity and patience. "We can't run forever," he said, his voice steady despite the chaos surrounding him. "If we leave now, we'll be scattering like prey. But if we stand our ground, we might have a chance to fight back." His words struck a chord with many, though dissent remained. To bolster confidence, Marcus shared updates on the progress being made with the harmonic emitters. Demonstrations showed promising results, enough to convince skeptics that the plan was worth pursuing. Still, the clock was ticking. The next celestial alignment was less than a month away, and time was not on their side. As the deadline approached, Marcus coordinated final preparations for what he dubbed Operation Harmonic Shield. Teams deployed to each node of the pentagram, carrying specially calibrated emitter devices tuned to the sacred frequencies taught by the native elders. Underground command centers buzzed with nervous energy as countdown timers ticked relentlessly toward zero. The first signs of gateway activation manifested 20 minutes ahead of schedule. Air shimmered like heat waves above desert sands, while gravity fluctuations caused equipment to malfunction sporadically. Then came the sound, a deep, resonant hum vibrating through the very bones of everyone present, growing louder by the second. Through observation drones, they watched as dark shapes began materializing at node locations. Marcus felt a surge of adrenaline as he monitored the situation from the central command post. Reports poured in from teams stationed at peripheral nodes. Most reported successful deployment of harmonic emitters, which created interference zones preventing complete materialization of the shadowy figures. However, maintaining device functionality proved challenging due to sustained exposure to alien energies. Casualties mounted as brave volunteers ventured too close to protect vital equipment from damage. Despite the mounting losses, hope flickered amidst the chaos. The gatherers hesitated, their forms wavering between dimensions. For the first time, it seemed possible that humanity's countermeasures might actually work. Victory remained distant, but the possibility existed where none had seemed before. Operation Harmonic Shield launched exactly 72 hours before the projected arrival window. Teams deployed to each node carrying specially calibrated emitter devices tuned to sacred frequencies taught by native elders. Underground command center buzzed with nervous energy as countdown progressed. First signs of gateway activation manifested 20 minutes ahead of schedule. Air shimmered like heat waves above desert sands while gravity fluctuations affected electronic devices sporadically. Then came the sound, deep resonant hum vibrating through very bones of everyone present, growing louder by second. Through observation drones, they watched as dark shapes began materializing at node locations. Critical moment arrived when primary emitter array threatened overload due to sustained exposure alien energies. Without functional backup system, entire operation risked failure. Drawing upon training and instinct-honed year service, Marcus coordinated emergency power redistribution while native shamans chanted protective verses amplifying harmonic effects. Combined human-alien effort created unprecedented feedback loops strengthening shield integrity just enough to survive initial wave attacks. Observing monitors showed pursuing hunters hesitating before withdrawing temporarily, first indication their plans might actually work. Victory remained distant prospect, but possibility existed now, where none seemed before. After 48 grueling hours continuous engagement, final assault commenced. Knowing time worked against invaders unable to maintain prolonged presence, defenders redoubled efforts holding positions despite mounting fatigue and losses. Sacrifices made earlier paid off as improved understanding enemy tactics allowed more effective deployment limited resources. When dawn broke over horizon signaling and current cycle, remaining shadow forms dissolved back into void, leaving behind scorched earth and damaged infrastructure, but intact colony. Exhausted survivors embraced amidst ruins knowing price paid, preserving future generations' freedom from same fate suffered countless others throughout galactic history. In aftermath, New Dawn stood forever changed yet stronger, having faced ultimate test survival. Knowledge gained shared, carefully controlled manner ensuring wider human expansion benefited, without spreading panic unnecessarily. Memorials erected honoring fallen included contributions native artisans, symbolizing unity forged through shared adversity. Marcus continued serving colony though burden experience visibly aged him beyond years. Looking skyward during quiet moments, he understood true nature universe, held wonders, terrors alike, demanding respect, caution, equal measure. Mystery Avalon solved, but countless others awaited discovery exploration. If you enjoyed this journey, extraordinary science fiction adventure, please consider subscribing channel, unlocking many more thrilling tales, cosmic scale, awaiting curious minds, eager explore boundaries, imagination, reality. The aftermath of the battle left New Dawn scarred but alive, its people forever changed by the events they had endured. The colony's once idyllic landscape was now marred by blackened craters and twisted metal, remnants of the desperate struggle against forces beyond human comprehension. Yet amidst the destruction, there was a profound sense of resilience. Survivors gathered in makeshift shelters, sharing stories of courage and sacrifice, their voices trembling with both grief and gratitude. Marcus walked among them, his face lined with exhaustion but his eyes burning with determination. He knew the victory was fragile, a temporary reprieve rather than a permanent solution. The gatherers had retreated, their gateway disrupted by the harmonic emitters, but they would return. Avalon's trap was still active, its mechanisms intact beneath the surface. Humanity's survival depended on understanding not just how to defend against the gatherers, but how to dismantle the planet's deadly design entirely. Elena Cho approached him one evening as he stood atop the Central Command bunker, gazing at the twin suns setting over the horizon. "We did it," she said softly, though her tone carried little triumph. "But at what cost?" Marcus nodded, his gaze fixed on the distant glow of the stars. "Too many lives lost," he admitted. "And we're no closer to answering the big questions.
Who built this trap?
Why do the gatherers come here? What happens to those who are taken?" Elena hesitated before speaking again. "I've been analyzing the symbols in the tunnels further. There's something unsettling about them." She unfolded a tablet, displaying intricate patterns that pulsed faintly on the screen. "These aren't just instructions or warnings. They're memories, snapshots of civilizations that came before us. I think whoever created Avalon wanted us to see what happened to them."
Marcus frowned.
"You mean like a warning?" "More like a record," Elena replied. "A message from the past, telling us not to make the same mistakes. But if we don't figure out how to break the cycle, our story will end up etched into these walls too." Determined to uncover more, Marcus organized an expedition into the deepest reaches of the underground network. Armed with advanced scanning equipment and accompanied by Kale and a small team of volunteers, they ventured into the labyrinthine tunnels that stretched far beneath Avalon's surface. The air grew colder and heavier the deeper they went, and the glowing symbols became more frequent, their light casting eerie shadows on the damp stone walls. At the heart of the maze, they discovered a massive chamber unlike anything they had seen before. Its ceiling soared impossibly high, disappearing into darkness, while the floor was covered in concentric circles of alien glyphs. In the center stood a monolithic structure, a towering obelisk pulsating with an otherworldly energy. As they approached, the obelisk emitted a low hum, resonating through their bodies and making their teeth ache. Kale stepped forward cautiously, his hands trembling as he touched the surface. Instantly, images flooded their minds, visions of countless species, each thriving on Avalon until the gatherers arrived. Entire cities reduced to rubble, populations culled without mercy, survivors left to mourn their losses. The scenes shifted rapidly, showing different eras and civilizations, all meeting the same grim fate. "It's a memorial," Kale whispered, tears streaming down his face. "A record of every life taken by the gatherers." "And a message," Marcus added grimly. "Whoever built this wanted us to know what we're up against." But the most chilling revelation came when the visions showed not only victims, but also creators. The architects of Avalon were revealed to be an ancient, long-extinct race known as the Arinder. They had designed the planet as part of a grand experiment to study the evolution of intelligent life under extreme conditions. The gatherers were their chosen enforcers, tasked with maintaining the balance by periodically harvesting specimens. The implications were staggering. Avalon wasn't just a trap, it was a testing ground, a crucible meant to separate the strong from the weak. Those who survived were deemed worthy of preservation, their DNA added to a vast genetic archive stored aboard the gatherers' ships. Those who perished were forgotten, their existence erased from history. Returning to the surface, Marcus convened an emergency council meeting to share the findings. The revelations sparked heated debate among the colony's leaders. Some argued for immediate evacuation, believing humanity couldn't possibly compete with such overwhelming odds. Others insisted on staying, determined to find a way to disable Avalon's mechanisms and reclaim the planet for themselves. Marcus sided with the latter group, proposing a bold plan. If the resonance chambers acted as conduits for the harmonic frequencies that open the gateways, then destroying them might sever the connection entirely. It was a risky proposition. The chambers were deeply embedded in Avalon's crust, and tampering with them could trigger catastrophic consequences. But it was also their best chance at breaking free from the cycle. To execute the plan, they needed precise coordinates for each chamber, as well as a means of neutralizing their energy output. Elena suggested using modified emitter devices to overload the chambers, effectively frying their internal systems. However, this required proximity to the structures, which were located in some of the most dangerous parts of the planet. Volunteers would have to risk their lives to plant the devices, knowing full well they might not return. Despite the dangers, hundreds stepped forward to help. Among them were native guides who knew the terrain intimately, engineers skilled in handling volatile technology, and ordinary colonists driven by a shared desire to protect their home. Together, they formed strike teams, each assigned to a specific chamber. Marcus led the largest group, targeting the central obelisk, where the visions had originated. The operation began under cover of darkness, with teams moving silently toward their objectives. The journey was fraught with peril, treacherous terrain, unpredictable weather, and the ever-present threat of the gatherers' scouts lurking in the shadows. Communication between groups was sporadic at best, forcing each team to rely on instinct and preparation. Marcus's group reached the central chamber after hours of grueling travel. The obelisk loomed ahead, its pulsating glow casting an ominous aura over the surrounding area. As they approached, the ground trembled violently, and a deafening roar echoed through the air. From the darkness emerged one of the gatherers, its towering form shifting unnaturally between dimensions. Its featureless face turned toward them, radiating an aura of malevolent intelligence. "Deploy the emitters," Marcus shouted, raising his weapon. The team scrambled to activate the devices, which emitted a high-pitched whine as they charged. The gatherer lunged forward, its movements fluid yet disjointed, as if operating outside the laws of physics. Bullets ricocheted harmlessly off its semi-corporeal body, doing nothing to slow its advance. Just as hope seemed lost, the emitters reached critical capacity. A blinding flash of light engulfed the chamber, followed by a shockwave that sent everyone sprawling. When the dust settled, the obelisk lay silent, its glow extinguished. The gatherer let out a final, ear-splitting screech before dissolving into nothingness. News of the central chamber's destruction spread quickly, bolstering morale across the colony. One by one, the remaining teams reported similar successes, their targets neutralized and the resonance chambers rendered inert. For the first time in months, the skies above Avalon remained clear, free of the ominous hum that had signaled the gatherer's arrival. But Marcus knew better than to celebrate prematurely. While the immediate threat had been neutralized, the planet's underlying architecture remained intact. The Arinder's experiment hadn't been fully dismantled, it had merely been paused. Without ongoing vigilance, the system could reactivate, drawing the gatherers back once more. In response, Marcus proposed establishing a permanent monitoring station near the central chamber. Equipped with advanced sensors and staffed by rotating teams of scientists and engineers, the facility would serve as both a research hub and an early warning system. Additionally, efforts were made to document everything learned during the crisis, ensuring future generations understood the risks and responsibilities of living on Avalon. The colony itself underwent significant changes. Gone was the naive optimism that had characterized its early years. In its place stood a hardened determination to survive and thrive despite the challenges. Relationships between humans and natives strengthened, with both groups working together to rebuild and fortify their shared home. Years passed, and New Dawn flourished once more, though it bore little resemblance to the settlement of old. Buildings constructed from reinforced materials dotted the landscape, designed to withstand both environmental hazards and potential attacks. Schools incorporated lessons on Avalon's history and the importance of preparedness, instilling a sense of unity and purpose in the younger generation. Marcus eventually retired from active duty, passing the mantle of leadership to a new generation of protectors. Though physically aged, his spirit remained unbroken, fueled by the knowledge that humanity had faced unimaginable odds and emerged victorious. He often visited the memorial erected in honor of those who had fallen, paying his respects to friends and comrades lost along the way. On quiet nights, he would sit beneath the twin suns, gazing at the stars and pondering the mysteries of the universe. Avalon's secrets had been partially unraveled, but countless others awaited discovery. Somewhere out there, the gatherers continued their eternal hunt, and perhaps someday humanity would encounter them again, not as prey, but as equals. If you've enjoyed this epic journey into the depths of Avalon and its harrowing secrets, consider subscribing to our channel for more thrilling tales of science fiction and adventure. From cosmic battles to interstellar mysteries, we bring you stories that challenge the boundaries of imagination and explore the infinite possibilities of the universe. Thank you for joining us on this unforgettable odyssey, and remember, the stars hold wonders beyond our wildest dreams. Subscribe now and embark on your next great adventure.